I didn't set my timer. Hold on.
All right.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Netchicks. We are Moll and Liv here with really mostly a Bachelor episode this week. But we do have some stuff we want to address before we get into one of, I would think, probably next week is going to be a big Bachelor episode too. So one of two big Bachelor episodes for
Yeah,
us.
definitely. This past week was a 2-night event. So Monday was, obviously the regular Bachelor episode, and then some of our favorite girls came back on Tuesday to really talk some mad shit and a lot.
For Women's Tell All, which is this the
Yeah.
first year they've done this layout.
Yes.
In the past, they've had just a regular episode for Women's Tell All, and I think I would blow my brains out if I had to watch a whole week of that. But
Same.
yeah, let's talk about some of our other stuff first before we really get into a lot of Bachelor talk.
Yeah. If many of you guys watch our Riverdale rundowns, I know some of our regular, listeners do watch both, but we are huge fans of Luke Perry and Fred Andrews, and upsettingly, like Monday night, unfortunately, he succumbed from everything in the stroke, and he unfortunately passed away. So we just want to give a little thing about Luke Perry. We are thinking of him and his family. It's so upsetting because
Yeah.
we've talked about this before. We love Luke Perry, and yeah, it sucks when one of your favorite characters and an actor that you have seen in the past, just dies so suddenly too. So
Yeah. I think it's kind of crazy because obviously we're a little young for old school 90210 days, but it really is kind of crazy that he has had an effect on such a wide variety of people. Like I was talking to my mom and my sister about it. It was like my sister was like, "Oh yeah, like Fred Andrews," and my mom was like, had just put a post on someone's wall about 90210 reboots and kind of stuff. So
yeah.
Yeah, so it's affecting a lot of people, and obviously the cast of every show he's worked with, his family, his friends, just all of our thoughts are with them, and he has an amazing legacy.
Yeah, he does. And it's crazy to me that, he died so all of a sudden. Still, some of his work is still going to be out because he was supposed to be in the Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, the Quentin Tarantino movie that's coming out soon. So it's sad that his legacy obviously will still live on, and we still are fortunate enough to still have some of his work out there.
Yeah, it's one of those things too where it's like, I don't want to speak ill on anyone else, but a lot of times when we get these untimely deaths and stuff, it's a result of, drug use and that kind of stuff. It's very different when you're in your early 50s and you have a stroke. It's very unexpected.
It is very unexpected, and unfortunately, that's the reality. Actually, he was actually at the age where you do get strokes.
Yeah.
Coming from just something in what I've learned in my majors and a lot of the research that I've done, that's the prime. I don't want to say the prime time, but it's relatively normal because
but
there are a lot of
signs
that
though.
no, exactly. He's still very young. It's
very different than when someone dies young because they OD'd or something like that.
Exactly.
Not that still isn't terrible and tragic for the families, but it is definitely different.
Yeah, and they said he must have, most of the signs of strokes are genetics, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, all this stuff that it must have been overlooked. So it sucks.
Yeah, and I mean, there's plenty of people with those kind of symptoms that also don't have strokes.
Exactly. Yeah.
So
you're high risk if you're pregnant. There's a lot of high risk things, but and it sucks because it's something that's very unknown. So most do you know Susan Lucci, the soap opera star?
No.
Big. Well, she lives actually in my town. She's a very big soap opera star. I forgot which show she was on, but she actually just had a stroke in October, and she was this thin. She never ate. She was very strict healthy diet, and then now she had to go through all this stuff, and it can happen to anyone. So we are thinking of Luke Perry and his family, and especially the Riverdale, and everyone was close to him. It's very upsetting.
Yeah. So
Yes.
that being said,
We
okay,
will.
before I say moving on, yeah, your mic is too loud. Like I can hear myself talking. I can hear every time you move.
I don't know what the fuck is wrong with this. It should be fine. Hello?
Yeah.
All right, cool. I don't know why you can hear me.
I mean, I can still hear myself. I just heard myself saying yeah.
But how is that possible? Like, I have headphones in.
I don't know. But like that whole thing, there was so much rustling.
Hold on. I don't know how you could hear that because
Like your gain is all the way down to the left or to the right.
Yeah, and I just checked it. Like,
what setting is your pattern on?
the one it's always been on. I like never moved it.
Well, you moved it when Matt did it. I can't see that. No, that's the right one.
It's the right one. I don't think it's me because I physically.
I mean, I can hear you though. Like when you are going like that, I can hear it so loud.
I could see that, yeah, but I don't know how you could hear.
I mean, it's not my volume; it's your mic picking it up. Like when I do that, you can't hear it, can you?
Do what?
Like if I'm going like this, can you hear it that loud?
Not loud, but I could hear it, yeah.
No, like I can hear it loud.
Okay. Well, I just turned it down, so.
Okay, whatever.
I don't know how you could hear it.
Okay. All right. Yeah, so anyway, that being said, we're gonna move on to a couple other things. One being the Game of Thrones trailer that came out today.
Yes.
Really, it got me hype. Like
it got me hype, and sorry. The good thing is that they didn't like spoil much.
No, it really was just little snippets and scenes. More spoilers are coming out. I feel like not spoilers, but like teasers are coming out from like interviews and stuff.
Yeah.
I saw something on Twitter today about there's going to be a fight scene that is the longest in film history.
Yeah, it's the biggest. It's going to beat out the Lord of the Rings. Yeah.
Yeah, and then it's going to be like the most people are going to be together since season 1, which is crazy to think about because we just had that huge negotiation scene with the Targaryens.
Oh yeah, in the last episode. Targaryens. Yeah.
Cersei and co.
Yeah.
So like the Lannisters. There were so many people in those scenes. It's crazy to think that it's even gonna be more than that. I'm so excited. Stuff with the Night King was barely even touched upon in the trailer. It's really just everyone scrambling about the Night King. So I am curious as to like how much battle they'll actually be having with the Night King and the Night Walkers, the White Walkers rather. Or if it's going to be more about preparing, like what is going to be the split in those episodes. I'm also, because it seems like there's so much of a focus on the White Walkers, and it is the last season, I'm very curious as to if it's just going to be the last person living gets the throne, or if there's going to be kind of a culmination with the White Walkers a couple episodes earlier, and then there'll be some more succession conversations after that. It's going to be very interesting, and I've been hearing some crazy theories lately, and I'm just very excited.
Can't wait for Arya to kill that bitch though, Cersei, because like that's what she was referring to. So they've been talking this up so much. If she doesn't kill her, I'm gonna be so mad.
So I heard another theory maybe a week ago, and I think that would be way more poetic though than Arya killing Cersei. First of all, I get Arya's whole thought with wanting to have vengeance for her father. If anyone should be allowed to kill Cersei, it should be Sansa. Personally, that's my thought.
Oh, through all this stuff.
Cersei made her life fucking miserable for years. Sansa, not that she necessarily would want to kill someone with her own hands, but like she deserves it. if anyone's gonna get it. I'm a Sansa stan, so
I
there's
mean, yeah.
that.
Yeah, I guess I agree with you, but maybe I don't know. I think it wouldn't be done justice because Arya has talked about it this whole
I know she's
season.
talked about it a lot, but
So it would be
just in
so.
theory, I think if anyone deserves it, it would be Sansa. But I heard somewhere that a theory is that Cersei actually is pregnant. Because, I don't
Okay.
think she's pregnant, but if she
Oh, I
actually is
think she
pregnant,
is.
she'll die during childbirth, giving birth to a dwarf. Because that's the reason she hates Tyrion so much, is that her mother died during childbirth.
Huh. That would be.
That would be so much more poetic than Arya killing her.
Yeah, I mean, it's like what goes around comes around type of situation.
I
But
think there's so much in this series with like full circle kind of stuff that I think that would be very poetic. But
yeah,
at
it
the
would
same
be.
time, it would be kind of anticlimactic.
Yeah, exactly. I was gonna say
Yeah.
that because for a character like Cersei, you kind of want her to have a bloody death.
Yeah, you don't want her to just kind of fade.
Exactly. Like
I
with
want her to look her killer in the eye
yeah,
before she gets stabbed in the heart. Yeah.
yeah, with like Joffrey, the whole situation. Like you, everyone hated him so much, you wanted him to have a death like that.
No, I almost want, well, I agree. Like, that's what I wanted for Joffrey, but I almost, for her, I want like a red wedding kind of thing
Oh yeah.
where it's like she doesn't get that moment of like
Kill everyone.
blood coming out of her mouth and Jamie
Mm-hmm.
holding her and her, like, I don't want
Yeah.
any kind of moment for her after the actual act has been committed. I just want her to like looking her killer in the eye and then she's like alone.
I don't think Jamie's gonna hold her. I think he's like at this point we've witnessed that he's kind of done with her. He's on his like
I go
last
back
leg.
and forth with Jamie. I love Jamie, but there's also the part where he like literally raped Cersei.
Exactly. He's like a weird like I've there's so many things that I've like seen about like Jamie and stuff like that. And it's like he's like the character that obviously he's nowhere near the White Knight or the White Savior, but um coming
No, but
from
he is so charming and he's
yes,
so salvageable.
yeah,
I really think is what it comes
exactly.
down to is you just always see that it's not even like a sliver of him. It's like there's something that you can hold on to of like you are salvageable. His entire relationship with Brienne, his entire relationship with
Yeah.
Tyrion. You see those little things, even like when he was the Stark's prisoner. There was these
Yeah,
little things where you were like, you're redeemable.
exactly. Yeah, so he's a redeemable character. He's
Yeah.
not like obviously considering the fact that he's the reason why Bran is the way he is. He pushed him down a fucking tower. So if you think about that to like the character that he is in the past season 7, like you're right, like that's the term. He's a salvageable, redeemable character.
Yeah, I
Which
almost feel like salvageable is a better word because redeemable is so much more like I think salvage is better just because it's
mhm,
going to take a lot more work. Like there's
yeah,
so little there. Redeemable, I think, is kind of like, oh, you're on the line. I don't know. I do
yeah,
think he's more towards if it's a gray area, he's definitely in the darker area right now.
mhm,
Um, but I think there was a lot last season. That's kind of
yeah.
him teetering towards the good side.
And
And
Brienne
I'm
of Tarth is
happy he's
definitely
not going to be with Cersei. I think
yes,
Cersei is such a terrible influence on him.
100%. I'm such a Brienne of Tarth stan though. Like I love her as a character. So the fact that I just want what's best for her, and I have a feeling that she's going to end up with Jamie at
Oh,
some.
I don't think so.
Really?
Do you think they're actually going to end up together? No, I don't think so.
Yes. I
No.
think that's like one of the characters that like the two relationships that they have tried to work through the past couple seasons since
No,
season
I
3.
don't I don't see it happening. I really don't. I know there's the whole thought that she is in love with him. She's kind of copped to that, but I just don't. First of all, no one gets a happy ending on
Oh,
this
well,
show.
no, it's not going to be like them living together happily ever after, but I do think if one of them dies or one of them doesn't, like
No, I think at the
backed up
most
together
you might
before that
get like a
happens.
Les Mis kind of a scene where, um, you know, Ebonine is like dying and she confesses
Oh,
her
it's
love,
hilarious.
like I think at the very least that's what you'll get, but it's not going to be much more than that, I don't think.
You don't think so?
No, not at
I don't
all.
know. I don't know. I think they are gonna
Also,
have
they're
a couple
gross.
back.
They're a couple that I feel like if they got together, I'd be like it's too. Oh my God, there's doves in the air, and like we've been on this journey together. And now we're like, like
I feel like they're
that's
more of a
gross.
fighting couple than like a gross look couple.
No, I
I think
don't
they're
know.
a
I
fighting
don't see
couple.
it. I can't. I'll be mad if they get together. Let's put it that way.
I'll be mad if they don't end up together. So this is we love conflicting things. All right. Who else do I really don't know. Okay, I just quickly need to talk about this. How did you not know Sophie Turner was Sophie Turner?
Okay, so here's the deal. I tweeted out today, and this is very true, that I really just put it together that Sophie Turner, who plays Sansa Stark, is the same Sophie Turner who plays who is marrying Joe Jonas.
Please don't
Plays Joe
piss
Jonas.
me
She
off.
does not play Joe Jonas. I didn't put this together. I'm gonna be so serious. There is like an e-news picture of Sophie and Joe on the set of Sucker, the Sucker video.
Yeah.
And it's like life is sweeter since Ramsay Bolton, and that's the T. That's the caption. And I was like, Ramsay Bolton, why do I know that name? Like I was just like, oh, I guess she dated someone named Ramsay Bolton. I don't know. I was like, but
You're
that
like,
name
oh,
sounds so
that's
familiar.
shady.
And then I was like looking at stuff, and then I think I was like listening to a podcast or something about um a, about the soccer video, and they said something about Sophie Turner, and I was like, oh shit. Because here's the thing. It's not that I didn't put together, I don't know how to explain it. Everyone's like, wow, wigs are tough. Like,
Yeah.
no, it's not necessarily that. And it is kind of because I really did watch the soccer video and I was like, wow, that kind of looks like the girl from Game of Thrones. But if you asked me, like if you were like, oh, who's Joe Jonas with? I would have said Sophie Turner. And if you immediately then asked me, oh, who plays Sansa Stark? I would have been like, oh, Sophie Turner. But I wouldn't have put together that that's the same person. Like it was just a mental block. It really was. There was just like a fence in between those two ideas for me. And it was just like, and I really think a lot of it has to do with their age difference.
Yeah, because
That
she's
I
like
was like,
she's your age.
yeah, she's 21, I think.
I think she was born in '96. I think Macy
Oh,
Williams is
I
her.
think she's
Or
21, but whatever.
either way, like she's
She's
that's
yeah,
really
she's
not much of a
significantly
difference.
younger than not significantly, but he's like 28, she's 21. Um,
Yeah, he's like a lot older than I always think he
he's
is.
like 7 years older than her. So that's really, I think, what throws me. And there was never a thought in my mind of like,
Oh my
oh,
god,
I
he's
guess
turning
there's
30.
student. He's 30.
He's
How
turning
old is
30.
she? Oh, so he's 29. Okay.
Yeah, so he's like in August.
Okay.
And
Whatever.
she's yeah, 96.
Okay. So she's
She
22.
just turned
He's
23.
29.
Yeah.
Regardless, it's still 7 years.
Exactly.
Um, there was never a thought in my mind of like, oh, there's two people named Sophie Turner. There was never a thought of like, wow, that's weird. There's two Sophie Turners. Like it just to me, I was like A, B. And the two thoughts never collided, is really what it comes down to.
And you know what? I can honestly see why because it's again like the whole age difference and it's like two like different worlds colliding, so to speak, in like pop culture
Yeah,
reference.
and like to be
And they
fair,
never really
I just
publicized it.
started watching Game of Thrones this year. Like since January, I watched Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
And before that, anytime it was like, oh, Sophie Turner, it's Joe Jonas's girlfriend, I was just like, oh, I think she's a model. Like
Yeah.
I never was really confronted with the idea that she was an actress. It was tough.
Yeah, I
It
was
was
gonna
a
say
moment
that.
for me that I was like, this is embarrassing. But whatever. I'm over it.
Yeah, I know. I agree with that. I was gonna say like you've only been watching it for such a short period of time, so like it makes sense. You don't like see them in real life.
And
But I get that.
really, I think if I had been hearing her name for longer, it would have made more sense to me. Like if
Yeah.
I was watching Game of Thrones real time and it was like Sophie Turner, Sophie Turner, Sophie Turner is in the show, and then it's like, oh, Joe Jonas is dating Sophie Turner, then I would have been like, oh shit. But because I I don't know. I think it was because it was the opposite. I was a couple seasons into Game of Thrones before I even learned her name. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean?
Yeah,
Like it
yeah.
was just that kind of thing.
No, yeah.
So,
Understandable, though. It
yeah.
sucks because she is a big name, but it's understandable.
I just was never I was like, "Oh, that's Joe Jonas's girlfriend. I think she's a model." Like I
Yeah.
didn't know anything about her, you know? I
She
really didn't
looks
know
like a
anything about
pipe.
Game of Thrones outside of like the general big plot lines that people talked about.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know.
But
Anyway,
we have.
more Game of Thrones talk to come,
Oh,
obviously,
yeah,
but
definitely.
let's get
April
into The
14th. Yeah.
Bachelor. Big
Um,
week for The Bachelor.
it was
Let's
a
get
big.
into last night's episode.
Oh, yeah, definitely. So, I don't know. Okay, so we were starting off with the three of them, fantasy suites. Um, Tasha, that was a whatever date, I guess. Um, you knew he did not lose his virginity to her that morning because of her face, even though she really was
It was
pushing
so
hard.
uncomfortable. It
Yeah,
really was.
she
First of
was
all,
pushing hard for it.
I don't want to just brush over her date because
Oh
I
yeah, we're
do
not.
think before the fantasy suites even, so they went on a helicopter ride. And what I do really like about this couple, and I think what we're not seeing is how much they challenge each other, like in conversation,
Yeah,
because they're constantly pushing boundaries with their dates. He took her bungee jumping, she made him go skydiving, now they're on a helicopter ride.
yeah,
And they're both like, I hate heights. Why do we keep doing this? But it's just kind of like a tit for tat kind of a thing that I
yeah,
like. And it's like playful almost. But I feel like that's almost a bad sign that they're playful just because let's think of who else he's been playful with. Demi, Hannah B, Kaylin to some extent. You know, all the
yeah,
relationships where you're like, I could see them being like, they always say like marry your best friend kind of a thing.
yeah,
Like you want someone who's you're in love with but is also your friend. Everyone that we're seeing that you're like, oh, this is kind of fun. They're friends first and then they have the other stuff. He's like, you're going home. I'm done with that.
yeah. He's not looking for that. He's
Yeah.
looking, for like the romantic side. Yeah, I get that. I was seeing something that out of the three of them, he probably has the most organic conversations with Tasha out of all of them. And I was like,
Yeah. Because
yeah, I see that.
I
But
think
then again, she's
also
also 28. She knows she's already been through a marriage. She knows what she's looking for in marriage. So
yeah.
like that's what she's pinpointing.
So I all season have thought that he has had really organic, natural conversations with people after they've already lost chemistry.
Yeah.
So I've been saying this for a long time. I don't think I kind of think Kalen went home last week because he was just really confronted with the idea that he wasn't in love with her. I don't think it was a choice between Tasha and Kalen
Oh yeah.
so much as it was like Kaylin's got to go home, so I guess Tasha will get a spot. I think Tasha, this is going to sound bad, but I feel like she's kind of like snaked her way through it a lot. I feel
Yes.
like they got to the fantasy suites and he was kind of like, oh shit, she's still here. Like, we have great conversations and stuff, but I really don't think he's in love with her.
No.
Clearly, well, we'll get to that. But
Oh yeah.
I don't know. Like I said, I think he has a type. I don't think Tasha's his type. I think he's had really great conversations with Katie, with Hannah, with Sydney, Kirpa, people after he's already lost chemistry with, and
Yeah.
it's almost like you could tell that they're buddies. They're not, or on his end anyway, he's like, yeah, you're my friend who just happens to still be here, but I'm not gonna marry you.
Yeah.
And I think that's where he was at with Tasha. That's why their conversation is so good because he's just kind of like, yeah, whatever. It's very different than what you see his conversation with Cassie this episode is like, which we will get into. But that
Yes.
was much more like twinkle in his eye kind of comfortable. Whereas this was more like, oh, also like introduce me to your boyfriend. Like I hope I'm his friend. Let's get a beer later kind of comfortable,
Yeah.
you know?
I it obviously I've said this before, but like you could tell the difference between the way he talks about it, like, oh, I'm falling in love with this person compared to Cassie. But like same with like Tasha, he was like, oh, I'm falling in love with her compared to when he said to Cassie, he was like, I want to be in love with Cassie. Like I love her.
Yeah.
So
So
it's obviously a very big difference.
whatever. I loved Tayshia obviously opened up on her during dinner about her divorce, and her issues with infidelity and that kind of stuff. Her own experiences with virginity. It was
Yeah.
fine, but I was bored.
Yeah.
I loved her dress or her romper, whatever it was.
Yeah, but she had to
The boob
homegirl
tape
should
wasn't great.
yeah. Um homegirl's got to get that Hollywood tape that I have. I'll hook her up. But yeah, I it sucks. I we've had those as women a few times that shit happens, but that sucks.
Yeah.
Truly.
I mean,
Especially since it's
whatever.
on national television.
But at the same time, you are trying to have sex with him that
Yeah,
night.
true.
So
So you're
do what you got to do.
you're purposely doing it. Yeah, yeah.
They did not, like you said, they did not actually have sex in the fantasy suite. I think probably some other intimate things went down. I don't think they did nothing.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I
Um
definitely think I saw a tweet that was like he did not even come a little bit in the fantasy suite. I don't think that's true. I just
oh, I
don't
don't
think
think
he had
that's true at
sex with
all.
her.
Yeah.
I definitely
I
think she blew him, but
oh yeah.
yeah.
But like she looked like she was so adamant, especially with the fantasy suite. She kept saying like, "Oh, like this might be the night that he takes his virginity. Like that would be so like, she was talking about his virginity, and then the next morning, you could tell she was like annoyed, like the way
Yeah,
her
it
facial
was their
expression was.
breakfast together was so uncomfortable. We
Yeah,
went from a very jovial, comfortable conversation the night before. It was so organic and natural. It was uncomfortable and awkward
yeah, it was
during
awkward.
breakfast. So clearly she was unhappy.
Yeah, no,
Then he
she
went on his
was.
date with Cassie. They basically just wandered Portugal. They danced a little bit. He got very jealous of some old man. That
Yeah,
seemed unnecessary.
yeah.
Um, to me, if I'm Cassie, that would have bothered me. Because I would have been like, that's the moment where you're like, oh my gosh, yeah, like I'm stealing your date. Aren't you jealous? And dance with this old lady.
Yeah.
Like, that to me is like, whatever.
He was like,
But
"Oh, that's my girlfriend." Like he was like saying,
yeah,
that's
I'm
my
just
girlfriend."
like, you just seem very like sixth grade about this.
Yeah.
That kind of bothered me. So anyway, then they have conversation and Colton reveals that Cassie's father did not give him his blessing to propose.
And Cassie's shook.
Cassie is very shook. They have very slowly kind of revealed how much Cassie's upbringing is affecting her. But for those who don't know, she comes from the same kind of background as Heather. And I
Oh
think
yeah.
Heather's background has a lot to do with why she is on this was on the show and had never had her first kiss. Her and her sister, who's now dating Greg Sulkin, which is a major get, by the way.
Yes,
Um,
true. Very major.
they are making their way through Hollywood. We talked last week about how Cassie has already been on a reality show.
Mm-hmm.
And that show is pretty much about like
Her
Cassie's
ex-boyfriend.
dating life with this very conservative upbringing.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's a
Yeah.
lot of what the show is about. Um, so Cassie's young. Her family means a lot to her. Not saying that it wouldn't if she was older, but I think she would have a little bit more autonomy personally and like internally. If she was a little bit older, she might have separated herself a little bit more from her family and just listening to what her parents say about her relationships. But it bothers her clearly that her dad has not given his blessing. She straight up says, like, you're okay with that to Colton. It's a little bit unclear whether she's more annoyed with Colton for just being like, well, he didn't give me his blessing, but I'm probably still going to propose to you anyway. Or if she's more annoyed with her dad for not giving his blessing. It's very strange. She kind of is like, I thought they trusted me more. Here's the
Mm-hmm.
thing. I think my dad would kind of say the same thing. I think if
Yeah.
I made it to hometowns, my parents straight up would be like all these other parents have been. They would be like, I mean, we were like, yeah, go on TV. But, like, now what are you doing? Like, you're not marrying this guy. You barely know him. What are you talking about? You're not getting married. That's 100% how my parents would be. My dad would be like, I don't know you. What do you mean am I going to give you? What are you talking about?
It's like
This would
you.
be a conversation if you guys had been dating for, like, a year and I got to know you more than
Yeah.
just this one dinner.
Yeah, and it's not even like they were dating, like, not only were they dating for like 4 weeks, he was also dating like 30 other
She's
women.
still dating other
Yeah,
women when he's
exactly.
asking. So my parents would have been the same exact way as all these other parents.
Yeah.
Like, they might have been like, sure. And then to me been like, you're not getting married. You know
Yeah.
what I
It's
mean?
like,
Like,
fuck off.
so they might have been like, you can make it to the end, but if he proposes to you, say no because this is not viable, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
That would be their advice to me, I think. But yeah.
No, I
So
agree with that.
I don't know.
I
Then
do. Yeah, and then that whole thing situation when the dad actually ends up showing up to Portugal.
the fact
Like, I was just in
that
the
the
neighborhood.
producers flew him out to Portugal
Yeah.
is crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That is
Absolutely
a next
insane.
level move for the producers of The Bachelor.
I mean,
It was unnecessary. They probably could have just had him FaceTime her.
yeah, but yeah, you're right. And I think if they didn't have that conversation, the night obviously wouldn't have happened the way it did.
I definitely
I
think
think
Cassie was
she,
conflicted anyway, but I think she definitely would have stayed at least another week. Like, she
yeah,
would have gone ahead and done fantasy suites and then possibly been like, you know what, I can't do this. And then kind of backed him into a corner because she definitely would have got a rose. But she basically would have sent herself home next week and then he would just be with whoever was left. But so I think it
but
almost plays better now.
do you think he would have though? Because he did have very strong feelings for her, even
No, no,
after
no, no,
their
no. This
date.
is not what I'm saying.
Oh,
What I'm saying is if her dad didn't come, the episode wouldn't have gone the way it went.
yeah,
She would have stayed with him, but she still would have had doubts. And I think ultimately she'd be like, I can't be with you. And then left him when there was only one other girl there.
yeah,
Whether or
okay,
not he would choose to be with Tasha or Hannah, that I don't know after Cassie left. But I think if her dad didn't show up in Portugal, she would have left herself when it was only two people left,
yeah,
not three. This makes it better, I think, because there's still an element of like, well, who's it going to be? Is it going to be anyone? Not so much like, well, I guess it's Hannah or I guess it's.
I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah, there's not. This makes for better TV. Basically, is what I'm saying.
oh, definitely. But now, like, I don't know. I'm trying to like process my mind on the fact that there's going to be like, how are you going to show like 4 nights, or like 4 hours of footage next week? So 2 nights.
Okay, well, let's stop just a second because we haven't talked actually about the breakup yet.
No, we haven't, and
We're
this just
jumping
like goes
ahead.
into it. Yeah, no, but it just goes into it because okay, so Cassie basically goes to Colton, tells him, well, she's actually, you know what, very indecisive with her words. She doesn't really full out say like, she says she's not ready, and then she goes back, and then this whole big thing basically ends up breaking up with Colton.
Well, you're saying she's indecisive. I think her words are unclear, but I
No,
think she's
yeah,
trying to let him down softly. And then at the end, she's kind of like, I want you to be with someone who's actually in love with you.
yeah,
I think that's her harsher way of saying, like, no, 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 no. Like, I'm not actually that confused. I'm confused because this is a situation. I think she probably was a little bit drunk. That was
yeah.
clear. And it was an emotional situation. Colton is literally like shaking,
Trembling. You
like
hear it on the mic. Ah,
like a puppy who has been rescued from a river in the dead of winter. That
mm-hmm.
is what he is shaking like. And she's like, what the hell? Like, I think he might have a literal seizure if I don't. What am I going to do here? Like, she's
Yeah,
all over him. I'm like, I think she might just be trying to keep him warm. I
yeah,
don't know what is going on, but this is not normal. Um, and there was a lot happening, and I think she went in. I don't think she was that confused, but I think she was kind of like, I don't know, like, he's so upset, should I leave, blah, blah. Ultimately she's like, no, I'm going. Like, I'm not. I came here with the intent of breaking up with you. I'm breaking up with you. And then we get the fence jump. And it seems like Colton is intending on quitting the show.
Yeah. I would too, honestly. If because after the whole date, he knew it was Cassie at the end. So
Yeah.
obviously he was completely blindsided by this whole thing. And as we showed, like you said, like he was trembling like a puppy. Like that was just in the moment. Like he was in love with this woman and she doesn't love him back, and that sucks.
You
So
know
like,
what really does suck is it's not really the same as all these other women who are just getting sent home every week. He's already been through that.
yeah.
And you kind of can see he's been an emotional wreck this entire season.
Oh
And I
yeah.
think a lot of it has to do with the fact that he came onto this show being like, now I'm in control. Now I get to make the choices. And he's just getting dumped left and right.
Yeah. He has. And it that just sucks. Like I would have jumped the fence too. Like if in that moment, like you just confess to Cassie, like every time I'm out with another woman, I only think of you. Like
Yeah.
you confess that. Not even, and it's not even like
Which is
he's
crazy
proposing.
because Hannah G was done dirty this episode. She was
Yeah,
not in it at
she doesn't
all.
get a fantasy suite episode. Like
She
she
was
doesn't get a
not.
date.
She wasn't in it at all. It's insane. But oh
Yeah,
my gosh, my legs are so sore. Sorry.
that's fine. She was
Um.
only in it like that when they show the little montage. That was about it.
Yeah.
Homegirl was done dirty because
Way, way dirty. So
like
I don't know.
they
We'll see what happens next week. You're saying I don't know how they're gonna fit in 4 hours. I do. They're gonna do probably 25 minutes to a half an hour of just trying to find him and him having a mental breakdown. They'll probably do maybe closer to 45 minutes of just him being emotional total from beginning to end. So that gets you to like 8:45. Because you have to remember, they throw commercial breaks in probably every 7 minutes on this show.
yeah, it's the
There's so many commercials. So then probably I think he'll still have his date with Hannah.
no, I know he doesn't have a date with Hannah.
Stop giving me spoilers.
No, they already like they put it out there like it's like from that episode. It's not a spoiler. Like they announced that he doesn't like they don't really get like that date. He
So
like
she's
moves
just
on.
never going to see him again.
No, she does, I guess, but like
So
they
what are they
kind of
going to
like
do?
I have
She'll
no idea.
like right. So they can work out a full 2 hours of him just interacting with the cameras and Chris for his emotional breakdown. Him being like him and Chris having a conversation of like, what are we doing?
Mm-hmm.
Then they can pull out another hour of just him interacting with Tasha and Hannah. It seems like everyone thinks that he is going to go find Cassie. So if that is the case, that'll be the majority of the episode on Tuesday. You also have to remember that this is a live episode. It's a live finale. So you didn't watch the premiere,
Yeah.
but half of the premiere was just like the watch parties. So that's also going to add time.
Oh yeah, you're right. It is live. I yeah, I could see that live. All right.
So we'll see what happens, but I think that's what that is going to be.
No,
Um
I agree. I just feel like that's just like so much because like I feel like I thought this was the finale because really like what else is he? You just like don't know who he's gonna choose now at this
yeah,
point.
I don't know. I don't think he can choose anyone. After basically saying to Cassie like it's fine, we won't get married. Which
Yeah.
by the way, I have a list of things that bother me about Cassie from last night. First of all, I was watching with my sister and we decided that, and I think this is pretty astute. Cassie looks like if Lauren Conrad and Kristen Cavallari from The Hills had a baby.
Yeah.
1,000%.
She's
Second of
so
all,
California like looking.
yeah, I
She's
know.
such a
She
Cali
really
girl.
looks a lot like Lauren Conrad, but with just like sprinkles of Kristen Cavallari.
Mm.
Um, Second of all, I figured out why she immediately bothers me, and that is because she is too experimental and adventurous with her middle part. Middle parts really bother me. I've
Same.
made that clear for a very long time. I used to have friends in high school that would come into homeroom just one random day with a middle part, and I'd be like, "What's going on here?" They'd
Cut
be
that
like, "Oh,
out.
do you like it?" I'd be like, "No, go to the bathroom and fix your hair. That look like it looks bad." I just There are very few people in the world, Teresa Giudice being one of them, that I think can rock a middle part, and it has a lot to do with the size of your forehead. It's
Yeah.
all about the forehead size. Kourtney Kardashian, no. Get rid
Yeah.
of the middle part. There are so few people that I think really can rock a middle part. It has a lot to do with forehead size and then also with the thickness of your hair. I think your hair should be a little bit darker. Cassie fits none of the criteria for a middle
Yeah.
part. So I don't know what she thinks she's doing. And that I figured out is why it bothers me. She bothers me so
I
immediately.
I have like my things with Cassie about how the whole thing, Kirpa, Katie, Tasha, they all said Cassie is not ready. And I'm so against kind of the thing is like, how are you to tell someone that they're not ready? Because at that point when Cassie was fighting
Right.
back,
Well,
she
clearly she's
didn't.
not ready.
She clearly isn't,
Yeah.
obviously. But at the point when they
Well,
were
so
telling Cassie this, she thought she was.
let's move into the women tell all because I think this is
Yes.
going to be part of this conversation.
Hmm.
We've kind of learned tonight that Cassie really did not think she was going to be this far without Kaylin.
Yeah.
It makes it Kaylin pretty much lays it all on the table because Katie, who you will remember started all of this who's not ready drama,
Hmm.
um she straight up says, she's like, yes, no, Kirpa and Tasha were right. I was talking about Kaylin and Cassie. We had this conversation about who's going to be the next bachelorette, who's going to do this, who's going to that. It was kind of revealed that Kaylin maybe was sliding into DMs of former Bachelor contestants, which is like not great, not a
Yeah.
good look. Probably why she's not going to be the next Bachelorette.
Yeah,
Um,
100%.
but Kaylin lays it on the table, and what she says is, "Me and Kaylin were best friends," and I'm saying this kind of dramatically because it was a dramatic moment.
Yeah.
Me and Cassie were best friends, and it's hard. How are you gonna be competing for a man's affections with your best friends? So I basically kind of said to her, listen, if it ends up being me, then I want you to be the next bachelorette. Like, I also want you to find love. I want us both to find love from this franchise.
Yeah.
Basically, it's clear that Kaylin thinks she was going to win, and
Oh,
hopefully
yeah.
Cassie was going to be the next bachelorette.
And Chris Harrison says that, like, she was obviously definitely blindsided because you were the front runner.
She's the
And I'm
front
like,
runner.
yeah, she was, but at the same time, I thought Cassie was more of a front runner.
Well, I don't think Cassie thought she was.
No,
I think
exactly.
Cassie
Cassie
also
didn't.
thought Kaylin was going to win.
Yeah.
Because even now, looking back last week, when Tasha got that rose and it was left with Cassie and Kaylin, they both looked at each other like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, I really think that their plan was for them to get into the top 3 or maybe the top 2 together. Kaylin to win, Cassie gets the Bachelorette. You know, like, I think that's really what they thought was going to happen. I think Cassie didn't think she was going to win. I think she thought Kaylin was going to win. I think she thought she was going to be, like, maid of honor in Colton and Kaylin's wedding
Yeah.
and then go off and find love on The Bachelorette. Like, I really think she thought that's what was going to happen. So now, a week after Kaylin has gone home, maybe not even a week, we don't really know the timeline.
Yeah.
It's kind of more obvious, becoming obvious what was going through her head.
Yeah.
So there's that. Woman Tell All was a time.
Oh,
Colton, I
yeah.
wanted nothing to do with him.
Yeah.
That
He
was
only came in
annoying.
the last 20 minutes.
He came in at the
Okay.
end.
Can I just tell you something? I had something to do at 8 o'clock. So I started to watch the tell all at 8:55. I just skipped commercials, didn't skip anything else. I
Yeah,
finished it at 10:03.
that's because there were so many commercials. It was
Exactly.
insane.
How insane is that?
Um, yeah, there was a lot of commercials.
It was just like
Let's
useless
just hit a
shit.
couple of points though, because
Yeah.
I do want to talk about Nicole and Anika again.
First of
Because
all,
on
don't
Twitter, most
don't
people
take
seem like
shit.
they're still on Nicole's side, and I don't understand that.
I have to. Okay, so I'm gonna see this. First of all, I'm gonna play the whole part with "Don't take shit from girls with bad eyebrows." So coming at Anika because her eyebrows are whack, and I'm very upset with that. I just couldn't stop staring
I
at
mean, they're
them.
not great,
They're
but
not
what
good
are
at
you
all.
gonna do? I think she's 100% right. And for the
Yeah,
other girls to be like, Nicole, you said that that girl wasn't pretty enough to get a rose. Like,
yeah,
you did say terrible things about other people in the house. And then other people to be like, she just wasn't your friend. How is that bullying?
No, they
I
were
just
friends, weren't
don't
they?
understand. No. Her whole thing is like,
Oh.
you made me feel ostracized. Like, you were bullying me. It sounds to me, like I've said this before, there's always going to be someone who's like, I'm not in that girl's friend group, so she's bullying me. Like,
Mm-hmm.
she's ostracizing me. She just doesn't like you. She's just not your friend. Just because someone doesn't like you doesn't mean they're bullying you.
Yeah. I I just didn't like the fact that every time she was trying to talk, then four other women tried to be like, no,
But
no,
she
no.
did the same thing to other
You're
people.
right. But at the
They
same
all
time,
were
like,
doing that.
it was kind of like annoying. Be like, okay, like now you need to like, this girl needs to talk. That's why I
But
just like
she
I was
got
getting
her time to
frustrated by it.
talk, and then other girls would start to talk, and she'd be like, then she would jump in on them, and when they wouldn't just yield their time to her, she'd be like, oh my God, you're speaking over me. I need a voice. I need to be heard. I feel like I'm drowning. Like, she's so
Mm-hmm.
emotional. And to me, she's totally that girl. A lot of these girls suffer from like pretty girl syndrome, where they're pretty and then they pick
Yeah,
like
yeah.
one personality trait.
Okay,
And I
hers
think
is
she's a
emotional.
professional victim. I wouldn't even say emotional. I would say she's was emotional for a long time and then took that to a point of like, oh my God, I'm so sensitive. And like, if you even look at me the wrong way because you have something in your eye, I think you're bullying me. You know, like it
Yeah.
just that's I can't even believe everyone on Twitter is like on her side. I'm like, Anika just doesn't like her. Just because you don't like someone and are like, I don't want to be your friend, doesn't mean you're bullying them.
Yeah.
I don't know. And I guess I'm just more my personality, I think, aligns more with Anika's than Nicole's
Yeah.
because even that montage of her crying, I would be like, oh my God, I have no patience for you. I have no patience
Yeah.
for you to cry. Um, I would be like, what are you doing? Get it together. But
And now
that's
she has
because
a
I'm
free
not an
supply.
emotional person.
Yeah, she now has a year supply of Halo Top.
Good for her. Halo Top
Yeah.
fucking sucks. Whatever.
Yeah.
Um,
Exactly. Yeah, no, I agree. Well, the whole thing is like I thought Anika was just as annoying though as Nicole, and
Anika was annoying, but I think Angika's kind of annoying was like, I'm loud, I'm obnoxious. I feel
yeah,
like that's way more taking ownership of being annoying.
yeah,
I
and
think
I
you think
do.
she didn't come out with like blowhorns and whistles and she's like, yeah, everyone here fucking thinks I'm annoying, but like
Yeah,
whatever. She obviously knew that she was being annoying. Like I
yeah,
think she knows she's obnoxious, but whatever. Demi also knows she's obnoxious.
exactly. But the whole thing with Anika, I do agree with like she knew she was gonna go home like very soon, so she was just like putting it out all on the line.
I mean, I
And
guess, but my real thing is like as soon as other girls backed Anika's story and being like, yeah, Nicole, you did say
yeah,
terrible things, then I'm like, no, Nicole said bad things. And then once she got called out on it, she started crying. And then when people like roll their eyes to be like, well, you're just crying because we're calling you out, she's like, you're bullying me. That's 100% what I think happened.
you know, oh
You
yeah,
can't go
I see
around and
that.
saying that girl is not pretty enough to get a rose. I don't know how she got a rose. And then when someone says you that's not nice, you start crying.
Yeah,
That's
that's
crazy.
just over it. Yeah,
Too
but
much.
with the whole Demi, going back to Demi because whatever about Nicole and Anika because again
I
they
mean,
were
neither of them are making it to paradise or anything,
exactly
so it's
so
whatever. I never
Demi
have to think
though
about them again. Demi's clearly going to paradise.
100% going to paradise. I felt like I liked her more during the tell-all than the whole season.
I will
Well,
say
because
that
now she's like upfront with everything and
no, I honestly think I agree with you. I think she came off very likable, but what I will say is when she was on screen and not like Demi-centric scenes, she's also very likable.
yeah, yeah,
She's supporting other girls. She's very like I think you could all if you were watching the show and just focusing on Demi the entire time that she was on the screen, you could see she was forming friendships
yeah.
and that
Oh
she
yeah,
actually cared about the other women in the house. I think she did get to a point where I do genuinely think she thought she was in love with Colton. I think that's a lot to be with the fact that she's very young. But
hmm
I think at the same time, I think early on she kind of thought that she was not going to make it that far. So she may as well
yeah.
make friends.
Oh
There
yeah,
seems to be
definitely.
like a group, like the Hannahs, Demi, Kaylin, Cassie, that are all like kind of tight. And you can still see it on Twitter.
Yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, you could see, and
Yeah.
even on like the Instagram comments.
Yeah, exactly. But clearly Hannah and Demi are pretty tight.
Yeah.
It looked like they were kind of tight with Hannah G.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Which kept screaming out the beast
yeah.
during.
Oh my God, her and Hannah are very tight. But
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. I liked her in this. I think Courtney is a lunatic.
Oh
Courtney
yeah.
is so fucking annoying, and she just I think it really just comes down to the idea of like she just thinks she's above Demi.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you're not better than her. You
Because
just
you're the
think
same
you are.
age.
You're the same age. You thinking that you're this much more mature really makes you more immature, I think.
Yeah. I thought so too. She
I'm
brought a
just,
freaking pacifier.
yeah.
I was like, I'm done.
The least mature girls are always the one that are like, that's so immature. Oh my
Yeah.
God, I can't believe how immature. How old are you? Are we in second grade? Like, those are always the least mature girls.
Oh
Just
yeah.
own it. You're 21. You're still going to act immature half the time because you are
Exactly.
immature. But for you to be like, oh my God, I can't, like, you're you're a child. I'm used to dealing with mature adults. Really? Because I'm pretty much your age, Courtney, and I don't know a lot
Yeah.
of mature adults my age. So who are
Yeah.
you dealing with?
And even with like the whole Courtney, it was like Devin was like, "You guys still haven't talked to Colton."
Yeah.
It's
And she
2019.
didn't. She didn't say anything to him.
Yeah.
Demi was like, I would like to introduce you to Courtney. Maybe you might have some things to say to each other. She didn't say anything to him.
No, she didn't. She didn't even
So
say like hi. She just
Courtney, I think, is just boring. I think
yeah.
that's why she thinks she's so mature, is because she just has a boring life.
What episode did she leave?
When she gets called the cancer of the house.
Okay, so that was like
Her and Tracy leave at the same time, I think, because because I remember being nervous that Tracy wasn't gonna leave because
Tracy just
Courtney was
reminds me.
clearly gonna leave. Tracy was so unlikable.
Tracy looks like Alyssa Edwards. And you know who that is? The drag queen.
Oh,
Like
see,
she
she
looks
kind of
just like her.
reminds me of Katie. Katie, I think from Vanderpump Rules. Maybe not Katie. One of the girls on Vanderpump Rules. She reminds me of. I don't really watch that show enough to know all the names. I
Yeah,
know
yeah.
Stassi, but it's not Stassi that I'm thinking of. Kristen. I think it's Kristen is who she reminds me of on Vanderpump Rules. But whatever. Um, let's just quick talk about Hannah because I think
Oh yeah.
it's common knowledge now that Hannah is going to be the new Bachelorette. It hasn't been officially announced, but Reality Steve
Yeah,
broke it. It's
broke it.
pretty much
And
official.
I got it from my Alabama sources that I think her hometown is going to be like A Day, like in April, right? Isn't that?
Oh,
I assume
I have
so,
no
something like
idea.
that.
I
Yeah,
really don't know. I they have also lined it up perfectly. Like her talk with Chris
oh
was
yeah,
very much about like redemption and about her personal growth. I saw a lot of people on Twitter being like, "Wait, do I actually like Hannah now?" I was
yeah.
in on Hannah right after the drama with Kaylin was done. I think as
Oh
soon as
yeah,
that drama was over, they started painting her in just like a free-spirited, easygoing, fun, adventurous light, which is so so different than week one. And even with all the Kaylin drama of her just being so uptight and on edge, she just really started to let go and have like one of those relationships where it is like they're friends first. And when I forgot about her monologue when she left, not
hmm
monologue, but
her
like
for
her,
like I want to be loved ferociously. Yeah,
yeah, like I want to be loved fiercely. That's the
oh fiercely.
desire of my heart. And even he says that's a great line. I'm like, okay, so you could totally, that's going to be in the promos, like
Oh
it,
yeah,
just the way she has this like redemption toast.
roll tide.
He says to you being loved fiercely, she's like, cheers. She's got it.
Yeah, she
She
had it
is
in the bag.
actually, I know everyone was like, she's going to be such a terrible bachelorette. That's the one person I didn't want. I think she's going to be great after this.
Yeah, and she has the personality, I think, for it. Like this is definitely someone I do want to see
If you had
as
asked me like
Bachelorette.
week two, week three, if I thought she'd be a good bachelorette, I would have been like, hell no. Now I'm like, yes, 100%. Even like week seven, I would have been like, yeah, make her a
Yeah,
bachelorette. If I was not so hung up on Kaylin being bachelorette, I think I would have
yeah,
actually looking back, I would have wanted her. But
same.
I do think we said we're like she'll probably be on Paradise. Like she's a good personality.
Oh
Um,
yeah, this isn't the last we'll see Caitlyn.
no.
For sure.
Oh, I meant Hannah. Like when
Oh
we
yeah,
were like,
Hannah.
oh,
Yeah,
Kaylin
yeah.
will be bachelorette, Hannah will probably be on Paradise. But I think I actually am excited for her to be Bachelorette. So
Me too. I'm
there could be
actually
some
really
fun dates because she's so adventurous.
yeah. I'm I'm honestly like very excited. I
Yeah.
know when
I
the
hope
news
they
was
go to
announced,
like South America or like Africa or something. She's gonna have such a
yeah,
great time. I'm actually so excited for her.
yeah, I'm stoked. But
I'm
yeah,
so pumped for her.
like it was so funny. Like someone just came up to me and was like, "So did you like know her?" I was like, "Yeah, like that's why I'm like because I've she's like my girl now. I want the best for her. I want her to be
Yeah,
loved fiercely,
I do too.
and I hope she finds that. Yeah,
Yeah. So next week we'll probably have a lot more Bachelor talk because we'll have the finale. I'm definitely seeing Captain Marvel this week, so we'll probably talk about
yeah,
that
me
too.
too. Which I'm kind of nervous about because um I was really pumped, and then it actually got like a shit ton of mixed reviews, which is very odd for a Marvel movie.
I don't give a shit about reviews. Like reviews, I care about like Rotten Tomatoes for these kind of movies. So
Yeah, but
like
I get nervous.
critics,
I get
I don't
nervous
care
because
about for superhero movies because I'm like I think a lot of times they just think they're better than it. So I'll check a look at Rotten Tomatoes, but
yeah, I gotta check
I'm
it.
fine with it. I think you put way too much weight on what critics think.
I do,
Um,
no, I do, and then it like makes me nervous because I'm like, well, why
because
did they put
critics are
this?
pretentious, Olivia.
Yeah, I know, but like some
I
of
know the
this,
Duffy House, you guys kind of think you're movie critics half the time. Critics are pretentious, and sometimes you guys are pretentious when
we
you
are
try and talk like
pretentious.
critics. So,
I mean, I'm not denying that.
yeah.
So
So, anyway, that's going to be it for us. We'll
yeah,
see you next week, and we will see you on Friday for a brand new Riverdale rundown. Until
yes.
then, Olivia, what do you have to say to the people?
Thanks so much for listening. Bye.